Hi. Welcome. I think I might be settling in on something like Monday matinees or something like that. We'll figure out the title. I'm figuring out. And plus, I have an idea. I have an idea for an intro song. And I kind of teased it a little bit yesterday during the Vermintide stream. So I'm hoping. We'll see if I can get this to happen. I'm a little slow. Hi everyone, welcome to Monday movie, and I've watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. By the way, I think I have to say this probably was my favorite of all the Indiana movies. I'm just changing the title the first time viewing so people know. People don't come at me. Okay, this is my first time, actually second time watching this now. I watched it once straight through, no stopping, and the second time I took time to make notes. So, I wonder, what is your guys' favorite Indiana Jones movies? Favorite movie. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Ooh, I spelled that wrong. Oh my gosh, what was the second one? Temple of Doom. Last Crusade, and it was the last one like Crystal Skull or something. I know that one's not going to be a fan favorite, but I'll put that in there. Let's see who's here. We have Brimstone. What's up? We got Zachara saying howdy to you. I wish I had a hat. I do have a hat. Guys, guess what came in the mail? Mrs. Nerdrotic sent one to me, although this does not match my outfit very well. I'm okay with that, but let me just put it on properly. It was too tight for my head. Too tight. There we go. Oh my god, I look like I'm special. I don't know if the hat suits me. I think I gotta curve it a little bit. I gotta have a little curve in there. It's one place that curves are good. Ripa's streaming. That's okay. Ripa has launched his Ripaverse, and I gotta say, gotta give up to him. I think he's at like 650k now. 650k last I checked. Ripaverse.com. Let's just check real quickly to see where he's at. Campaign. Holy crap! He is 2k shy from 7 freaking k. If you haven't yet, please sign up for the Ripaverse. If you want some of his comics, they're supposed to be, we'll see. Very good. I'm loving the art so far. And I mean, I'm not a comic book fan, but I'm excited. I'm excited. So, and he has a big announcement. So I don't know what the announcement is, but we'll find out eventually. Nick is here as well, saying Sean Connery is the GOAT. James Bond changed my mind. I've actually never watched Sean Connery as James Bond. Maybe that should be on my list. Andrew, Lone Star, Panda Bear, Andrew Matthews. I wish they made more Raiders films. Me too. We also have Keeley, Colt Seaman. Carestairs here. I have to admit, it's been a long time since I watched Last Crusade. It's okay. JBL, Len, Chad. Don't call me Junior. I love that. Honestly, this okay. I have to say this movie has me in the feels, a lot of feels, and I actually cried. There is only 3. Yes, I know. Like I said, Crystal Skull, I knew it wouldn't get a lot of love, so I'm just gonna put it in there. There's 4 slots. I don't know how to say your name, but hello. Let's see. Mark is here as well. I've never seen Eric happier than he is on stream right now. He is. Actually, his beard is so bushy. This is the bushiest I've seen him. You guys know what I feel about bushes. I erect them when I play Vermintide. Bradley Scott. And Ryan is here as well. Oh, and son of the Red Fox. Hello. Hard to say. Raiders is the best as a movie. Temple has the most nostalgia. Last Crusade was solid, but takes a backseat to Raiders. That's okay. So that's the thing. Most people, including myself, it's between Raiders and Last Crusade. But I think the lessons, which I'll get into when I go through the movie, is a bigger take-home message. A bigger take-home message for me. And I don't know. Maybe that's why I didn't cry for any of the movies. I cried for this one. I cried for this one. And, you know, your girl is a little emotional, and that's okay. That's okay. I love a good lesson. And, you know, anywho, so I'll leave the poll up and see what y'all think. And in that case, let's get started. I love how this movie starts out. You know, it's kind of this like, why are we watching these Boy Scouts? This is weird. Are they gonna go do like an archaeological dig? Maybe this is like one of their little courses that they're gonna do, and this is how maybe Indiana, well, started to like archaeology, which we find out it's kind of linked. It's kind of linked. So we see the young Indiana. He also, whoever this actor was, kind of remind me of a Cobra Kai guy, the son of the blonde dude. But maybe, I know he's too old at this point, but maybe it's him. I don't know. Didn't think you could cry. That will make us want to cry too. Aww. Well, I mean, it was a really sweet moment. River Phoenix. Is that his name? Is that his name? River Phoenix. I've never heard of him. Yeah. Oh wow, he's very handsome. He's very handsome. Not a fan of his hair in the show, but I mean, I guess that was like the good look back then. I love how we gonna get this like intro of what makes Indiana Indiana. We see him kind of sneaking around already as a young kid, kind of catching robbers of grave, or not graves, but sites. And he's like, that should belong in a museum. And then, you know, what was puzzling was at the very, 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 very beginning, he gets the snake, throws and says, it's just a snake. And I'm like, I thought he hated snakes. I thought he hated snakes. Oh my gosh. Oh, he passed away. Oh no. When did he pass away? 1993. Oh my gosh. Oh, he was barely alive. Holy crap. 2023. Yeah, 23. Holy crap. Too young. That's too young. That is definitely too young. Yeah. I do my polls. And so I thought it was crazy, the whole snake thing. And then you know, we find out it's the cross of Coronado. It should belong in a museum. So he ends up stealing the cross. He sends his friend to get the sheriff. And then he kind of gets caught. And I think the thing with this movie is there are so many action sequences, so many freaking action sequences. And they're so well made. So well made. I love it. I love it. So we see the chase. He gets on his horse, and the guys get on the car, and they're chasing him. And he eventually gets onto a circus train, which, by the way, I think in the early times that was like a big thing back then. Circus train all around the country. And you know, we see him go into a reptile. Oh god, this is like my biggest fear. So he's on this like rafter, climbing, running away from these guys and kind of fighting him. And then we see why he hates snakes. He falls into a pit of snakes. Oh my god. Who's afraid of snakes here in the chat? Who's afraid of snakes? Because I am. I'm freaking afraid of snakes. I'm freaking afraid of things without legs, things with a lot of legs, creepy crawlies. So Mark wasn't here for this, but I was like, oh, the entire time. And so the snakes are crawling all over him. Blabs. Hi. What's up, girl? Last Crusade was your favorite. That's cool. Yeah, not a fan. Mark hates snakes. Did you used to not hate snakes, Mark? I wonder. So anyways, he gets out of the pit, climbs out, and ends up on this different cart with the rhino. The rhino's hitting him through the roof because like a lamp fell. And something I want to mention is these scenes, modern day fight scenes, action scenes, they do a lot of shaky cam, bad lighting, and they jump to and from different shots a lot just to hide how bad it was shot. This first scene set the tone. It didn't have that. You could see long shots for at least a few seconds, good fighting, good movement. These stunts are done by the actors, which, I mean, kudos to them from what I could tell. They're done so well, you can't tell if there was a stunt double. I don't know. Maybe not. I think it's crazy how well they did it. And I mean, I don't think they were on a moving train, but they simulated it really well. They really, really, really did. Plus the fighting, like who fights like that? I don't know. Real life fights. Yeah. Anywho, so then after the rhino one, he jumps on this like huge swinging thing and then ends up in front of whoever the leader guy is. You could tell he's the air of confidence and all that. And he ends up trying to take the cross from him, and his little minion is pulling on the cross, and then a little snake comes out of his arm, scares the guy, and he keeps running, and then ends up in a magic cart, which, by the way, that is so cool. Goes in a box and disappears, and then ends up running off into the distance. I don't know. Banger of a first introduction scene is all I have to say. Freaking banger. I don't know. Anyone big fan of that? I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Wow. We're talking a lot about snakes. Wow. John, my biggest fear is my girl reaching for my wallet. Wow. That's your biggest fear? Dang, does this happen a lot? Does this happen a lot? Oh gosh. Which introduction is the best of the three movies? Okay, I have to remind myself, what was the introduction for Temple now? Indiana. Let me see. Raiders of the Lost Ark. They did. Okay, let's see. Oh, the Jovitos with the poison dart. Ooh, that was good too. That was very interesting, kind of like the first setting the scene. I love the scenery there, the traps, Indiana seeming so smart. Oh, the second intro. Oh my God, I don't know. Chat, what do you think? What is your favorite intro out of those three? Oh, that's really hard. That's what she said. Well, I don't know. I think this one, okay, so this has the nostalgia, which explains the story. Raiders has kind of like the ingenuity of the different traps, him actually doing the archaeology, like actual stuff being betrayed and still like being cool. And I really did love that dance scene. I really did love that dance scene. Wow. Well, I don't know. Oh, I forgot about the lion. There was the lion. Oh my God. And then we find out that's where he gets his little scar here. And with the whip, origin, and then we find out, of course, where he gets his fedora adventure hat. So when he gets home, his dad, and I think this was very it was very sad to kind of see, because his dad obviously just is so into his work that he doesn't realize that he's being so dismissive. Like Indy comes in running, screaming like, dad, 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 and he's like, count to 20. And so he starts counting 20, and then he says, in Greek. So I feel like that is a very dismissive thing to do. And I mean, when your kid has something so exciting, whether it be bad or good, it's good to listen to them. Otherwise, they feel ignored and not loved. And I think that's something that a lot of humans go through at some point in their life. And we see him in his diary drawing the window. So I think that was like great little foreshadowing in there, dropping a little nugget without you knowing that there's a nugget. And then the sheriff comes in with the Boy Scouts playing the bugle, and you can see the guy with the cane come in eventually, and then you see the robbers. The sheriff takes the cross, gives it to the robbers give it to the guy in the white cane, white suit, flower. I feel really bad because he's like, it doesn't belong to you, and the lead robber was like, he gives Indiana his fedora, and that's kind of how, explains it. The scar's real due to, oh, really? Did he have it in the first two movies? Like, I don't remember. I love Sean Connery and Harrison Ford. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I did not know that was Sean Connery at the beginning. The very first Sean Connery movie that I ever seen was the lead of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And the only reason that I wondered if it was Sean Connery is because the way he was speaking. And I was like, is that Sean Connery? Sean Connery. No one has that accent that I've ever met or seen. You know? Yeah. It belongs in a museum. Oh, I'm getting, oh, honey, in the chat. Mark, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell. I've only seen Sean Connery like very old. He's like young old in this movie. Very young old. Just saying. Wow. Raiders of the Lost Ark is still going strong with 3% over the last Crusade. That's... Now I kind of want to watch League of Extraordinary Gentlemen again. So it kind of transitions us to Indiana being older, his hat on. They're on a boat off the coast of the Portuguese coast, 1938. So this movie, if I'm correct, happens after both the movies, the first two. Although the second one is a prequel, if I remember correctly in my years. Yeah. I remember, guys, the reason I haven't watched a lot of these movies is because I live under the rock. I live under the rock. Zardos. Is that a movie? I don't know. Oh, also, I didn't watch The Avengers 98. Is that another movie I should watch, chat? Is that another movie I should watch? Wow. So, there you go. I'm learning. We see Indy for the second time, older, maybe a little wiser, definitely stronger. Fight to get that cross, and he does. He manages to fight, and he, comes up against that guy with the cane, the white suit. I'm sorry, he has the same white suit years and years and years later, with the flower too. I mean, to a T. He's dressed the same. I think that was a little a 2 on the nose, but otherwise I don't know if we would actually recognize him. He ends up getting the cross, and he jumps off the boat, and the boat explodes, and then you see that white hat ominously floating through the water, and probably dead. But all right, so now we're back in the present day. His present day. He's teaching again. He's teaching about archaeology. I thought this whole little spiel at the classroom was funny, because he's like, archaeology is the search for fact, not truth. Truth, if you want truth, you go to philosophy. Dumb hall. Archaeology is not about following maps for buried treasure, and X never marks the spot. So the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, interesting. I feel like that's kind of like what archaeology is. And then after you watched, the movie, and you see it a second time, you're like, you literally followed a map for buried treasure, and then you found literally a spot that had an X, and it marks a spot. Like, come on, you couldn't write that any better. Like, wow. I thought that was geniusly written in. And maybe archaeology really is studying and research, because when he's on all these adventures that we've seen, he literally is spewing out so much knowledge, this person, this city, this and that, the years and all this. So I get why archaeology is like 70% studying, but you are looking for buried treasure, and apparently an X, X marks the Xray Girl. Triple X? No, I'm joking. Unless it's like triple X, the oh my god, the guy who was it triple X? The fighting guy. Oh my god, why am I forgetting things right now? There's a movie called Triple X, isn't there? Am I right? I might be crazy. Vin Diesel. Yes, son of the Red Fox. Vin Diesel. So there is. I'm not crazy. It's not just like a porn. Wow. X marks the Xray Girl. Wow, that's a funny title. That could be a good couple name. So after the class ends, I was hoping to see some of the girls flirt with him, maybe with the eye thing again, apple on the table. They didn't do that, which is fine. Marcus comes in, he shows Marcus the cross and is like, we're going to meet up for dinner later. He has his office hour. So he goes, and there's a ton of students waiting for him. The first time I watched this scene, I thought they were all female students being like, oh my God, he's so hot. Please talk to me. But then I saw there were male students in there. So maybe there's like a discrepancy. I'm thinking maybe it's like a celebrity factor. I'm not sure. What did you guys think? Because I was a little confused about that. Yes, Shieldwall, I love Marcus. He is a fun, hilarious character. I thought you know, I loved Short Round in the second movie. Like he was like to a T, a kid and adorable, and he maybe yelled a little too much, and maybe that's why I didn't love him as much. Whereas Marcus, he has this innate ability to be so oblivious but so funny, the way he moves, the way he talks, and how he reacts to everything. I freaking loved it. I loved him. So that's probably why I like this definitely more than Temple of Doom. Sorry, Mark. So yeah, talking about funny characters and all. So yeah, Marcus. Anyways, the students, I guess, seem like they want to assault him with love or questions. I'm not sure about that. Wow. Everyone wants to go through Dr. Jones too. Cult semen coming from a man who oh, a guy did give him an apple? That was in the second movie. Again in the third movie? Must have missed it. Wow. Maybe it was the big gay. If it was, then like sure. Wow, Indiana Jones. Oh my God, he's so cute. I just need to go talk to him during his office hours. Like Indiana, or sorry, Dr. Jones. I thought it was kind of funny, but maybe it is. I don't know. I kind of left feeling a little questioned in that scene. His assistants end up giving him like his book from Venice. He didn't open it, and he's just sitting in his office, and he's just like, can't deal with this. Too many women and the big gays coming after me. So yeah, he sneaks out the window, and there's a car following him. Who could that be? So you are saying you would be in that line of students then? No, I never. Okay, so I may have had a crush on teachers when I was younger, but I didn't go to office hours unless I legitimately had a question. And yeah, never actually flirted. There's like a fly in here. Never actually flirted with anyone teacher wise that I can think of. Yeah. I thought it was a little weird. They're too old. I mean, can you imagine like a 19-year-old and, you know, how old is Indiana? Like 30 something, 40 something? I don't know. Maybe if I was 30, maybe I was there. Maybe. So yeah. Oh wow. Colt is asking the questions right here. Would I bang Indiana Jones or Han Solo if you had the chance? Wow. Okay. Okay, between Indiana Jones and Han Solo, I'd have to say Indiana only because I'm a bit of a like I love like the intellect side of him, but he's a little bit of a romancer. I don't know how I feel about that. Han Solo is a little too criminal for me. I don't think I could date a criminal type of thing. But bang, I guess one time, I don't know which one I would rather. Okay, to date Indiana Jones, but to bang, oh god, one time. Who would have less STDs? Oh no. That's the first thing I think of. Who would have less STDs? Wow, Colt Seaman, Harrison Ford. The answer is a three-way. Oh, it's the hat. Maybe it's that. Mm. Wow. Yeah, Panda. You're right. Indiana Jones was the first one Marion was underage. True. Maybe it was a little better back in the day. It was a little more culturally acceptable than today. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. All right. So now we get into meeting Walter Donovan. Creepy a little bit, knowledgeable, yes. He's a collector and has passion for antiquities, and he's showing Indiana this tablet that they found when they were mining copper, I guess, in north of Ankara. And they're like Indiana's assessing this tablet. It's 12th century sandstone, early Latin with the Christian symbols, and says something like this, not to a T, says, "Drink the water I should give him, says the Lord, which has a spring welling up for eternal life. Let them bring me to your holy mountain in the place where you dwell, across the desert and through the mountain to the canyon of the crescent moon." Interesting. Okay. To the temple where the cup that holds the blood of Jesus Christ that resides forever. So interesting. Another bit of foreshadowing. Resides forever. Which we found out, of course. It literally does reside there forever. So it's the quest for the Holy Grail. Who apparently the Grail ended up with the Arthur legend, which I think is kind of cool to kind of like link the two together. Where these knights, who apparently have lived for like 100 and something years, and they were, I guess, entrusted to protect it. One made it and died of old age and talked to this friar, and this friar made this manuscript. It's like a beautiful old book with like big letters, and it's kind of cool the way they kind of like told this story. I really liked it, and I have to say that people who did the pieces there, did an excellent job. The tablet was really well made. The book looked really cool. From what I could tell, it seemed historically accurate. So I think that's the cool thing about especially these sets of movies. And I'm learning that like set pieces wise, they seem so historically accurate. Coming from someone who doesn't know much about history, but yes, the solving of mysteries and looking for lost things, that really is what drew me into with this like movie. When you watched it the first time, did you see these little words and like kind of figured it out? Because as I'm like watching and I have these notes, you figure out there's so many little things that they mention, so many things that like add up to on top of each other. Everything is almost there for a reason, and I love it. I love it. And I like the writing is so good. It's so freaking good. So yeah, we they are talking about the second tablet, which is a marker as well. It's in the dead knight's tomb somewhere in Venice. And it's like, whoa, Venice. That book came from Venice. He hasn't opened it yet. Wonder what that is. And Donovan says the project leader disappeared, so they want Indy to pick up the trail where the project leader left off. And we find out the project leader was his dad, which his dad was Grail obsessed, spent his life working on this, has a diary, which we find out later, with so many notes about it. We're going for a ride. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Space STDs or antique STDs? STDs are all bad. STDs are all bad. Chat, who would you rather bang? Han Solo or Indiana Jones? Or I guess if most of you are male, who would you rather bang? Elsa Schneider or Princess Leia? Is that even a poll I should do? I feel like I already know the answer without trying. Okay, so they end up at Indiana's dad's house. They find it's all ransacked. I love that they put in that today's mail has been opened. So there was someone there that day. And so it wasn't like something that happened back in however long ago. And so he finally opens up the package. It's Dad's Grail diary. I'm like, why did he send it? How? Why? What? We find out he's disappeared and he sent the diary. What? And then the house is ransacked the day of. What? Anyways, big mystery. Big mystery. And Indiana's kind of walking through the house, and I kind of like this little tidbit too. So he's by the picture, which is of Jesus Christ as he's on the cross dying, and they're catching the blood in the cup. And then he goes to another picture, and it's a man walking across nothing, seemingly nothing, towards the Grail. And I'm like, holy crap. There were literally so many freaking hints. So many freaking hints in this movie about what's, about to happen. So, yeah. Hi, Hokies. Wow. Prince, I don't think she was that. I think she was Austrian. Does that make you that word? An Atzi? Is it okay to say Atzi on YouTube? I don't know. I'm so used to I'm so used to Twitch being very careful of my words. Being maybe too careful. So he tells Marcus to call Donovan to go get a ticket to Venice. To Venice they go. And they're flying over there. And Donovan, as he's leaving Indiana at the airport, says, be careful and not to trust anyone. Words that are so freaking true. Yes. Okay, I can see this. She might have been a sympathizer, Oh, really? Okay, obviously I don't know my history. Wow. I'm special. I am very special. Yeah. Okay, so I will say a Yahtzee. We'll go with Yahtzee. All right, Yahtzee. Got it. Okay, so wow, tight poll. We're only 5% away from Raiders winning over this movie, Last Crusade. So they arrive in Venice, and they're going to meet Dr. Schneider, who most people would think, doctor, male, archaeology. But then it's this absolutely gorgeous blonde woman, and she's like, I could have recognized you anywhere. You have your father's eyes. And of course, Indy turns on his charm and says, I have my mother's ears, and the rest belongs to you. I'm like, what? That is so cheesy, but it would so work, I think, on a lot of women. A lot of women. Would that work on you? I think it would. It would work on me. And then she's like, looks like the best parts have already been spoken for. And I'm just like, this is killing me. This flirting is just absolutely over the top, like good. Over the top good. I loved it. Girls love that type of stuff. I mean, if I met someone and they said that would be a lasting impression. Wow. He's like, it work on me. I'm not even a whammons. Wow. Andrew Matthews, this is kind of true. You have your father's eyes and C word. Yeah. It impregnates any women within earshot. Guys, did any of you use this after you saw this? Did any of you use this? I feel like I would have. So she's kind of keeping them, catching them up. She brings them to the library. She says, your dad was doing some research. He asked me to go find a map. And then I did. And then when I came back, he was gone. And all that was left was this piece of paper. And it had like the Roman numerals on it. While they're doing that, Indiana gives her a rose. I mean, more flirting. Bring on the flirt. He's very smooth in this movie. He was like gruff in the first one, but it worked. The second one, he was I think he was sweet in a lot of ways, but he was this is like peak work. Like he's just like womanizer, 100%. So there we go. All right, so this piece of paper has Roman numerals. I went to the library, which was converted from a church. They're on like holy ground. There's like columns on the wall that were brought over after the war. during the Crusades, and then you see the window and you recognize from the very first scene with Indy and his father, the pain. And wow. I wonder, Roman numerals, what's going on? There's numbers on the window, there's numbers on the paper. So he figures out, okay, 3, 7 on the columns, where is 10? Now 10 in Roman numerals is an X, and he literally, this is you know, most normal people will probably look at the floor and be like, oh my God, there's 10. But I love the way they dramatized it. He ran up the circular staircase up to the second floor, and he's like, X marks the spot. I liked it. I loved it. I loved it. I don't know. It was just done so well. And just with the music, it just made it that much more exciting. And I mean, along the whole like mystery thing, like where's that last number? So X marked the spot where the grave was to find it. Wow, I remember this bit from the floppy disk game. There is a game on a floppy disk. Oh, that would have been fun. I love floppy disks. Very small, very easy to move around. So yeah, they find the X. He starts using this I don't know what they're called. They're like divider poles. So it's very heavy base. So you smack in the floor, and I love the way they kind of paired it to make a nice little funny moment where the librarian's using a stamp, and every time he stamped, you'd hear that Kong! And he's like, is that me? Is that me? So it's a little fun comedic moment. Yeah, the stamp. Yeah, I love the way they inject some humor, and the humor they use is very well done. And I wonder if this was already built into the story or something that maybe they thought of later on. I don't know. And we have Fury's Fill for $20. Says Austria was the birthplace of Nazis, and have some wine. I don't have wine. I have celery and kale and orange juice. It looks gross in the straw, but it tastes good. I'll have some wine later. I need to start getting fit for Vegas. Okay. I gotta slow down the wine drinking. I'm gonna miss it. Wow. I'm so sorry. I'll have wine on Wednesday. I'm sorry. It's healthy. It makes things run through you. The celery does, at least. Then whiskey. I do have whiskey. I'll have a swig of whiskey at the end. Or do you want? Okay, you know what? We're not on Twitch. Posture check. Okay, guys, I will have a swig of one swig. Oh God, this is probably gonna be the death of me. Okay. The top of the cork fell off, so I have to use my corker. Decorker. Oop. Okay. I don't know if I can open this. Okay. I might have to do this later. It's kind of falling apart. Whoops. I don't know if it's working. Nope, it's not. It's definitely not working. There is cork in whiskey right now. There is cork in whiskey. Okay. Now I have a bottle of whiskey on my table. Whoopsies. I tried. A snifter of whiskey. Okay, so where was I? All right, so now we go into finding the tomb, which, by the way, can I add on? I don't like rats either. These movies have had bugs, rats, snakes. Oh, it is so freaking gross. Oh, thank you, Shield Wall. Soak the cork. Do I put like a little bit of water on it? Okay. Put a little bit of water at the top. Wow. I like snakes because they kill rats. I mean, I can also have a cat that kills a rat. Why did it have to be snakes? I don't know. The tank scene at the end still holds up. Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So this next scene where they're going through the tunnels, gross. There's petroleum. There's grossness. I like this little part here. He grabs a femur from the wall when they're in the petroleum water and wraps it in fabric and then lights it. I thought that was kind of cool. But then we got into these like gross scenes where there's rats everywhere. They're almost stepping on them. And like there was this one part where she's like her head's against the wall and there's like rats on the wall and she's just going against it. I'm like, oh, so gross, so gross, so gross, so gross. And wow, yeah. Imagine if the man-sized rat. Oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Ugh. Wow. If you want to kill black snake, hang it over the fence. It will rain within the week. Wow. I don't know if it works that way. But to make you feel better, son of the red fox. Did it make you feel better? And so they're almost there. They get to they're like this beautiful coffins, and the one kind of on this like little pedestal is the knight. So they open it up, and inside is the shield, which ends up being their second marker, where they find out, oh my gosh, he takes the wax paper, makes a copy, puts in his pocket, and then while that's all happening, Marcus, who has the diary, by the way, gets hit in the head by, which we find out later is the Brotherhood. Oh my gosh, I forgot about what the name was. Of the Cruciform Sword. Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword. Lights up the petroleum, and the rats are shrieking, which, by the way, this makes me think of, I forgot which movie it was, but they, like these gangsters, put a rat on someone's tummy and then a bucket and then heated up the bucket with the rat would freak out and then just start eating the person. Ugh, in order to escape. Like no, like they just want to live. And I mean, I get that. So that's what made me think of gross. So they're running. They overturn the coffin and they go underneath the like little air pocket while the petroleum's burning. Indiana finds a way to escape. And then Elsa is inside the coffin, just like screaming because the rats are going in through the holes. Oh my god. Ugh. Was it Game of Thrones? Okay. I must have misremembered that. I swear it was like it was another movie as well. Movie where rat and bucket heated. Is there an Too Fast, Too Furious as well. It was in Too Fast, Too Furious. And that. Okay. There we go. See, I remember things somewhat. It was in the novels. Okay. Yeah. Gross. So she's in there screaming, and then they finally managed to escape. I love how they went through the sewer grate, just like outside. So somehow wherever they were was connected to that, which, I mean, I would assume that the Italians would have gone into the sewers at some point. So I don't know if that was like a bit of a plot hole to kind of explain that. But they escaped, and then the people in the red hats, the Brotherhood, come out of the library and start chasing them into the boat chase scene, which is so freaking cool too, by the way. They're jumping off each other's boats, fighting, gun shooting, and we get to like the last part where I love how Indiana's like, don't go through those boats. It's these two huge ships, and she's saying don't go through them, but she thought he said go through them. It's a miscommunication. So she goes through them, and I don't know why or how, but another boat was pushing the big ship together. So one of the enemy boats ends up getting and then he's fighting I guess the leader. I think his name was Kazmik. And yeah, they're fighting. And this guy, literally, I feel like he's he's a believer of the Grail, and he will literally put his life down and says, you know, I'm ready to die, but we're both going to die if you don't let me go. Indiana Jones obviously is not ready to die, so he lets him go, and he ends up dropping him off, and he asks Indiana this question, and I think this is a very valid question. Why do you seek the cup? For his glory or for yours? Indiana says it's he came to find his dad, not the cup. And I kind of want to think that this question more was for Elsa, because, you know, she wants to find the cup. And this whole one of the lessons that I really liked from this movie, it kind of is in this question. So he tells him that his dad is in the castle of Brunwald at the Austrian-German border. So they actually end up going there eventually. Wow. Those boats, those were antique boats. Oh, they were really nice, though. They were really nice. Wow. Keep giving Xray the Slaven references. More nerdom lore overload for her. Give it to me. Give it to me! Wish I had a soundbite for that. Wow. Those boats were for love. We're making love. Really? Where do you do it? At the top of it? Kazim. Thank you, son of the Red Fox. So they go to the hotel and they find out that the city that they were looking for, because they knew they had the map in the diary, but they didn't know where to start. You know, crescent moon, there's mountains, there's desert. So they find out it's Alexandretta city, which was destroyed and is now present day Iskenderun. So they send I think he sent Marcus off to there to meet Sala, who we met in the first movie, which, by the way, loved him. And yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then Indiana goes to his room. His room is ransacked, no returned. He goes to Elsa's room. It's the same. She's kind of in the bathroom with the loud music, so she didn't hear it, apparently. And I thought that was a second watch. I'm like, makes sense. She put the music on. She wouldn't hear. That's her, like, little excuse to not hear that, you know, stuff is happening. And so, yeah. Then they have another little flirt on. By the way, every time Indiana has flirted in these movies, it's been kind of like a mean flirt, especially right before the nookie part. I wrote down everything that happened. She's like, what did she say? She's mad, says give them a flower and they'll follow you anywhere. He tells her that she isn't mad. He's like, she likes the way he does things, apparently, and she says, I don't do things the same way, otherwise we'd still be on the Venice pier. And he says that he's been killed so many different ways, incinerated, shot at, all this stuff. And until he's sure he's safe, he'll continue to do things the way he has. And then they kiss, which, by the way, this is a very awkward looking kiss. They're like, and she's like, how dare you kiss me? And then kisses him back. And then he's like, leave me alone. I don't like fast women. And then he kisses her even more. And she's like, I hate arrogant men. Has anyone ever actually, like, flirted like this to the doing the dirty? Like, excuse me? Wow. It was so funny. It was so funny. It wasn't like and I kind of like how they make these love scenes like more jokes than anything. So I think it's more fun for kids if kids do watch this. I don't know. Yeah, Jamie, I think she likes it a bit rough. And angry is awkward, but always worth it. Wow. For the first time, though? For the first time. I don't know. He was the anti-blonde with flirting. Yeah. Well, I mean, the very first time he met her, he did throw some good lines. This part right before the, you know, the fun part was very awkward. And then, you know, they're kissing intensely. He's like, Venice. And, you know, yeah, no. Yes. Shark dentures. This is the high school method of flirting. I'm going to say mean things to you, but I actually like you. Love me. I hope you understand that this is love, not hate. Yeah. Len, I do a first watch and then without interruptions straight through, and then a second watch with notes. So that's how I like doing it. So that way I can fully take it in. Because even with the first watch, I do miss quite a few things. So if I were to do both at the same time, I wouldn't be able to. So they end up going to Brunwald Castle to save him. He fakes a Scottish accent, says he's Lord Clarence MacDonald, and with his assistant to get a look at some tapestries. He ends up punching the butler and then exploring. It's actually a Yahtzee base, sorry. And then he finds where his dad is. He goes into the adjacent room, swings with his whip into the window, and I think it's kind of cool. This is the first time we actually see them talking to each other, because the first part when he was a young kid, it was just kind of like very dismissive. They didn't really talk a lot. Deranged lunatic, my partner in crime, is watching actually as we speak. If you're here, Mark, pop something in chat. Wow, Bradley Scott, if a woman smacks you on the arm, does it mean she might like you? Potentially. Wow, Tainted, you could. A lot of houses have that like weird wall between a wall, which I think is maybe more of a European thing. I don't know about, in Canada. Wow. I have been to Italy, Venice, Italy. It was kind of dirty and it didn't have many public restrooms, but it was still cool. I would hate for Ryan Kinnell to go there and make a video about their restrooms. I'm just here to view the tapestries. So in the castle, he saves his dad. His dad knocks him in the head with a vase, and he calls him Junior, which, by the way, I don't know. When you get called Junior and he doesn't like being called Junior, I think it's kind of a little disrespectful and dismissive, maybe, in a sense. So yet again, dad putting that kind of barrier in between him and his son. And the dad's so sad that he broke this beautiful vase from did he say it was from the Ming Dynasty? And Indy's like thinking, oh, he cares about me. He's sorry that he hurt me in the head. But he's actually talking about the vase. And I thought it was like, oh, poor Indiana. This must have been his whole life, really. Must have been his whole life. And actually, I put here, Dad has a Sean Connery accent. Before I knew it was Sean Connery. So he tells his dad that he found the entrance to the tomb and that he found the shield and all this. And his dad, this is his first time. Like he was not excited to see Indiana, but he was so excited to hear about the tomb. Yet again, another knife in the tummy for poor Indiana. And then soldiers end up walking in. And I love how they both say the soldiers like Dr. Jones, and they both say yes. I think that's kind of a fun little moment. And they're like, give us the diary, which, by the way, the soldiers would not know the diary's in the pocket if it wasn't for Elsa telling them. And I don't think, of course, Indiana didn't clue in on it at that moment. So he ends up shooting the soldiers. He goes to save Elsa. Elsa's in there with like some high-ranking soldier. Colonel? Was it the colonel? I think it was the colonel. Gun to her face. And he's like, give me the diary. And he ends up dropping the gun. Drop the gun. He ends up dropping the gun for Elsa. Elsa goes up to him and, looks like he saved her. And she goes, I'm sorry. Takes the diary and steps back. And I'm like, ultimate betrayal. I hate her. Oh, newbie. I love the castle part of the film. It's so much fun. I do too. Oh, wow. The secret stairwell. That part was really cool, actually. That was really, really cool. And yeah. So we see her betray him. And his dad even's like, I should have mailed it to the Marx Brothers. So it's just more disappointment on top of, whatever his father has put on him throughout the years as being a kid. And then, of course, he tells his dad not to call him Junior anymore. So he is so in love with Elsa. And he only, Did it once with her. Power of the P word. Female P word. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Andrew for 5 British pounds. Every Sunday, you have giant rat men rubbing against you. I know, it's really gross. That's why I kill them. That's why I kill them, Andrew Matthews. And Ian So Forth for 25 British pounds says, a Sean Connery accent. Wow. Ian So Forth, if you were here earlier, the first Sean Connery movie I ever saw was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He was significantly older in that movie than in this movie. So I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to put it out there. I am not a nerd. I don't know these things. My memory isn't very good. So I'm sorry. But I did recognize the, the accent. Then eventually I saw on IMDb. There was emotional damage. Yeah. Honestly, there was so much emotional damage to... And I kind of like I want to say like I relate in a sense to Indiana. A lot of Asian cultures, we use very it's kind of like the idea of fat shaming, you know? And when you're a kid, it toughens you up, and then you realize later on in life what it means. And I think that's maybe why I really relate to this movie a lot. You know, my parents, not that they were dismissive, they were very involved in their childhood, but their love and the way his dad showed him love, that independence that he wanted to imbue on his child, I felt that as a kid. But I would have to say they were probably a lot more present than, his dad was. So, there's a little bit of relation in that sense. And look at me. I'm relating to a white man in a movie. Wow. An Asian woman? What? Sorry. Anyways. Yes, fat shaming is good. A lot of things. You want your child or a person to grow up. There are ways to say things. Of course, you don't want to say things that are too harsh, but I think that, there's some things that are good about stuff like that. So, anyways. All right, so where are we? They get captured. She gives the diary to Donovan. We find out he's adjacent Yahtzee. And I'm really sad because he's like, you really shouldn't have trusted anyone. I warned you. And guess what? He trusted Elsa. He really did. Think he was listening to his man bits. Look at him there. I hope he learns from this. And we've also find out that his dad did say, don't trust her. And dad was like, she talks in her sleep. What? What's it called when you share the same woman with two people that you're like close to? Like, I cannot imagine like having the same relation with someone my mother did. Like, oh, what? And Panda Bear, I actually don't know if he's straight or not. Just saying. Oh. Wow, was this real? Connor was supposed to be Gandalf. He chose League, which then he retired. Wow. Interesting. No man learns to stop listening to his man bits until after each 35. Is this true, chat? Is this true? Wow. I have 10 ton saying true. Irish saying true. Wow. Okay. So 35. Is that a thing? That's a thing, apparently. Yes. There we go. Shaming is good as long as it's not bullying. And anyways, I tell my friends straight to their face things like, yeah, it is what it is. You're a better friend to tell the truth than to lie. Wow. Colt says, I'm 23 and will say I will always listen to the bits. Oh, okay. Tainted here. Outlier. 24 was the age. Chad. Here. Chad. 45. Wow. Newbie, I haven't stopped listening to my man bits. I'm over 35. Wow. Stephen Browse is 85. I'm 43. Mine never shuts up. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm learning. I mean, girls are different too. Some listen to them, some don't. I don't think there's a set age in terms of like when they stop. When they stop. Oh, man bits. So where are we? Okay, so Donovan has him locked up, and then they're like, where's the diary? It's with Marcus. Marcus is obviously going to meet Sala. And I love how Indiana's like, he's so smart. He had a 2-day head start, which he didn't, knows 10 languages, which he doesn't, and has lots of friends, and he could disappear so easily, which he can't. And then I love how they like pan to him in Iskenderun. And he's just like so awkward. Like, does anyone speak English here? Does anyone speak English here? Oh my God. And he's literally so dense. Like, so he meets up with Sala and they get stopped by these random dudes in black suits. And they're like, we're from I'm the director of antiquities from the museum. Well, they sent you a car. And Sala saw through the BS and was like, okay. They're like, oh, papers? And because there's no museum. And he opens up the newspaper and he's telling Marcus, run! And he's not listening. He can't hear. Oh my God. I think this absolutely was so funny. It really showed how not smart Marcus was to social cues. And I think that's it. Social cues. He's not very smart, but maybe he is book smart, which is probably why he's in archaeology. Yeah, so anyways, Sala ends up fighting. They run, and then they end up capturing Marcus anyway. There was like a really good plan to get him into the back of a van. It looked like somewhere where he could like hide safely, but then they closed it up. Gone like the wind. And yeah. So the Elsa and them are to head to Iskenderun to kind of follow up with the diary. And since they know where they need to start now, and I love how Elsa kind of rationalizes with Indiana that they both want the Grail and they would have done anything to get it. And again, this is a very important line, to Elsa's character in comparison to Indiana's, because Indy's like, I'm sorry you think so. So this will come back in the moment that the Grail is, life and death. And another weird, creepy, funny, awkward scene. She goes up to Indiana and she kisses him goodbye. And she also says how wonderful it was. And I love how his dad's like, or that she can't forget how wonderful it was. And dad says, it was. Oh. He does speak 14 languages? Okay, well, apparently not the one that's spoken in Iskenderun. Where is Iskenderun, by the way? Iskenderun. Oh, it's in Turkey. Okay. Maybe he doesn't know Turkish then. This is how we say goodbye in Austrian. And then I love how the Nazi comes up and says, this is how Germans say goodbye. It's just a fun little moment. There's so many fun moments in this movie. This is how, okay, so I think of this movie and I compare it to Thor and a lot of like the MCU movies, like the slap the knee, haha humor. This is well-written humor, whereas like it belongs very well in the movie, true to the characters, whereas I feel like every character in the Marvel movies are like this with their humor. They're the same, like they have the same humor. It's not humor that's connected to the characters. Yeah, no, maybe, I don't know. Wow. Chat, do we like this? Do you like a little bit of little lip bite? Yeah, it feels very forced. This is not forced. It's like well built into the script and the action. I don't know. That's just me. It's a shame you didn't do a watch party with some of your pals commenting over the scene is better than having an after viewing review. I mean, I could do that too. I could. Would you guys like that actually? Okay. So, poll, we're done, by the way. We have, wow, almost a full 10% arc over Last Crusade. If you guys want, I could do a live viewing. Would you prefer a live reaction or an after viewing review? Live reaction after viewing. Okay, so let me know what you think, and then maybe I can, it's called Eva. maybe. Wow. Ken Lip said we can do both. Maybe what I'll do, ooh, what movie? Oh, that's true. So the next movie I was thinking of doing, Mark suggested RoboCop. I have Princess Bride. Let me just open up my list here of maybe what I want to see next. I've never watched Blazing Saddles. Predator. It's been, oh God, I don't know. I think I watched Terminator 2, but not Terminator 1. I also haven't watched any of the Rocky movies. I can feel the chat just like cringing at my lack of watching movies. Have you seen Blade? A long time ago. I've not watched Blade Runner either, though. Wow. Okay, so maybe what I should do is Blazing Saddles? I don't know. I don't even know what that is. We can see. Wow, people are loving the live reaction. Okay, I'll keep the poll up. We'll see. Predator with Drinker. I don't know if I can get the Drinker, but if I can, I'd totally do it. All right, so where are we at now? We go to Indiana and his dad's escape. I thought this was a fun scene. Indiana's like, get the lighter from my pocket. Dad grabs a lighter, lights it, and then drops it on the carpet. The room starts lighting on fire, and they end up going to the fireplace, which seems like it's the safest spot. And they hit the little lever, and it just flips in and out. By the way, plot hole, how did they not smell the fire? You would smell the fire. And so anyways, the second time they flip around, the lady goes, alarm, alarm, alarm. Start another fight scene, chase scene. And so they flip back around where the fire is, and Indiana manages to get off the rope, lets them escape, and then the Yahtzees are trying to flip that thing around, which they do, and then they're not there. Oh my God, where are they? They drop from the roof, and they fight, and they end up on the right side, keeping all the Yahtzees on the side with the fire. And they put some sort of like trophy thing to block the door from moving, and they run. They find this like empty room and what looks like a circle with a lot of lines coming out of it. And I love how Dad's like, I just need to take a moment to sit down to think, because they don't have anywhere to go. And basically the dad was so oblivious to getting the next part. The stairs just opens up. He opens up the stairs with the chair that he sat on, and then they escape through that way. Indiana obviously like fell through the floor, and they go, and there's more boats. And that's like literally as when he's like, more boats? I'm like, more boat scene chase, which didn't actually end up being that. So he tries to be smart, sets a boat off to kind of distract them, finds a motor vehicle, like a moped with like a sidecar for his dad, and they end up like escaping that way. That was like so freaking cool. So it starts the motorbike chase scene, which I think this is one of my probably third favorite chase scene in the movie. So it's up there. Or second. Tank was first. Oh, beginning was second. This is third. So they're on the motorbikes, and this is again shot so well. I love the way they did it. And like, this obviously was done real life. This wasn't like green screen or anything like that. And they are driving. He ends up getting like this flag pole. And I love how like this is like an ode to the Knights. He uses it to crash a motorcycle into a bunch of other motorcycles. like it's a jousting tool, like how the knights used to do, like with the on the horses, the joust. I don't know. Is it a sword? A joust? A joust? Is it just called a joust? I think it's just called a joust. So he throws him off and then drives off. There's one motorbike left that's kind of like coming up behind him. And then he ends up using the pole and puts it through the wheel. So smart. The guy flips over and ends up falling. And I think that's the only one. So they end up going to a fork in the road. You know, one goes to Venice, one goes to Berlin. His dad ends up convincing him, you know, we need to go to Berlin for the diary because there's clues in it that's going to help us when we actually go find the Grail, versus going to Marcus in Venice, which, you know, it's kind of funny that dad wrote it down and he's like, I wrote it down for a reason because I don't have to remember. And I kind of like how this his dad says that the Grail isn't archaeology, it's a race against evil, meaning the evils are the Yahtzees. And this is another little plot thing that I kind of like, I really, really, really liked. So his dad has a huge passion, obviously, for the Grail, which you kind of gathered from the movie. But this is the first time we've kind of seen maybe why his Indiana Jones was so, maybe the base reason why he was so hurt. So his dad says, you know, Mom kept her illness from me. We know that, you know, it was kind of just the two of them growing up for Indiana. And, you know, we didn't know that Mom, the reason she died. And he obviously was so into his passion that he kind of maybe not ignored the science, but was just too caught up in his research. And maybe Indiana has a bit of, not the word regret. What's the word for it? He's resentful of his dad for being so passionate and losing that time with the mom. So I thought that was really sad. Really sad. So anyways, they end up going to Berlin. Yes, resentment. Okay, so before I continue, 8-Bit Axel with the 5 British pounds. Hi, corgi sticker. Thank you. Oh my God, it's actually really cute. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Hi. Oh, sorry, that's not hi. Hiya. I feel like an anime character. Thank you, 8-Bit. Ken Lipson for $5. Here's my Xray Girl must see list. Barry Gordon's Last Dragon, Big Trouble in Little China, Dread 4, Blood of Heroes, and Willow. Okay, I'm gonna just take a peek of that. Thank you for the list and the $5. And Furious Phil for $5. The final countdown. It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. I don't think I'm singing it right. Sorry, guys. I'm not a very good singer. Shark Dentures for 5 says, lots of great comedy of Sean Connery playing against his standard type of role by being submissive to Junior's anger. Oh, you are right on that. Thank you for the $5. It's the power of the voodoo punani. Oh, this is the talk about the P words. Yes. You know, it's a women's wiles. There's a reason why men are sometimes weak to it, and that's okay. You know, men are strong. Women don't have to be strong to be strong, like physically strong to be a strong character. I'm just saying. Okay. Oh, really? There was another fight scene? Oh, we missed out on it. Yes, there's probably a list out there. I probably should do another one. We're going to do another one. We'll do another one. Okay, all the time, Shark Dentures. All the time. Yes. And Elsa, that's a lot of power. She's absolutely gorgeous. Abso-freaking-lutely gorgeous. Even I can say that. Oh, gosh. What is a woman? Okay, so what happens next? They're in Berlin. We see Elsa. She's upset because of the book burning, which I thought was kind of So this is interesting. So she obviously is a very she's very knowledge based. Like she is very all about the education, about the Grail, archaeology, the discovery of it, finding it. So books is her passion. So I think she was very sad and upset about that. And Indiana's in a German soldier outfit, and he ends up getting the book from her, and of course confronting her, and they kind of leave it like he threatens to kill her, but then she's like, I'm just gonna scream if you choke me. So he runs off, and this is a really fun moment. So him and his dad meet up, and then he gets pushed into seeing Adolf Hitler. And it's so tense. It's so tense. I'm just sitting here thinking, oh my God, they're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught by Hitler. Holy freaking crap. And what does he do? He takes the book. He opens it up. Obviously, Hitler has no idea what's going on. And he signs it because he's like a celebrity. Like, excuse me. Like, I'm abso-freaking-lutely dead that he did that. Abso-freaking-lutely dead. I don't know if that is ever how it should, if he ever did that, but he literally faced the ultimate Yahtzee and lived to tell the tale. I thought that was kind of funny. So there we go. He faced Hitler and survived, and has Hitler's autograph in their Grail diary. So they're traveling out of Berlin now, and they're taking a blimp, and I think it's funny because Indiana's like, I'm feeling pretty safe. We made it. And his dad says, I'll share the same sentiment once we're airborne and the Germans behind us. And of course, what happens next? These soldiers are running up onto the blimp, trying to find them. They're asking all the passengers, have you seen this guy? Have you seen these guys? Have you seen these guys? Indiana changes into he's like a master of disguise in this movie. So he changes into one of the cabin crew, and he was going around pretending like, papers, I need to see your ticket. I need to see your ticket. And I'm only saying Yahtzees because I don't know if YouTube is anything, I don't want to upset Mama Susan. So he's pretending to check tickets, and the guy ends up at his dad, and he's like, okay, Herr Jones, must be Mr. in German. And he comes up behind the soldier. Indiana comes up and the soldier says, ticket. And the guy's like, no. He turns around. It's like he realizes and recognizes Indiana. He ends up punching him, throwing him out the window. And then he goes and tells the other passengers, you didn't have a ticket. And I love how the passengers are like, okay, I have a ticket. Don't throw me off. Don't throw me off. And then they end up leaving. I thought that was a great little scene, and then of course what happens? They turn around eventually. But I love this little moment that they have before the turnaround happens. So Indiana says to his dad, the last time they had a quiet drink was when he was having milkshakes. So obviously indicating that, it was when he was a kid. And I kind of like the way they phrase this. And this is yet again, maybe a Hollywood, comparing to today Hollywood, they would have said when I was a kid. I kind of like this, you fill in the blanks. No, last time we did this when I had a milkshake. Generally adults don't have milkshakes as kids. And he's like, we never talk. And dad's like, his dad thinks that he was a wonderful father. He's teaching him self-reliance, to be independent. And, I think the way Indiana kind of perceived that was a disinterest, and I think this would hurt me. I think if someone told me blank, he's like, you left when you were just becoming more interesting. Ouch. Oh no. That would hurt me. So, and then Dad's like, oh, why are you complaining? So I don't know, that I felt really bad for Indiana in this. Yeah, me too, Tainted. I'm lactose intolerant. And I would love to have milkshakes. I have fruit shakes, something like that with almond milk. It's the closest I can do. The closest I could do. So, then they go back to business. They go in through the steps that they need to do to get the Grail, which we'll go through later. And then so the plane turns around. They end up getting into one of the planes, and Dad's in the gunner seat. Indiana's flying it, and they are literally trying to escape. And there's other planes kind of chasing him. So his dad is shooting, and Indiana's flying, and then their car ends up, crashing, landing. They go steal a car, and they're trying to evade the planes, which are shooting at them, which is, by the way, crazy. They end up crashing one of the planes with the tunnel. And there's this very funny moment where they're driving through the tunnel, and the planes kind of drive or sliding adjacent to them. You can see the guy in the cockpit being like, what's going on? And yeah, that was a fun moment. Great little scene. And the next plane sends a bomb in front of them. It explodes, and they land in the ditch. So they jump out of the car, and they run, and they end up at this beach. And the last plane's about to come in, and the dad sees a bunch of birds. So he takes the umbrella and just scares them and hits the plane. The plane crashes. I don't know. After this scene, how many people have they killed? They've stolen cars, they've crashed things, they're very disruptive. I'm like, oh, what is going on? This would not happen in real life. I don't think so. I'm sorry, son. They got us. Yeah. Anyways, we have here Shark Dentures for 5. When he signed that, all I thought was, wow, the collectible value for that book just went way up. Oh, you're right. You are so right on that. Can you imagine having that? Okay, all that information in it in itself. And then on top of that, Hitler's signature. Wow. Thank you, Shark Dentures. Clutching Daggers for Ron 10. I don't know what that is. Aren't you afraid of radiation exposure at your job? We have what we call dosimeters, which measure your work exposure to radiation. I barely have any, if at all. When I used to work in operating rooms, I'd get way more. Just the like skin dose. But I have to say I get barely any. Yeah, Fairies Fill for $5. The Final Countdown was an early 80s movie from the top names Kirk Douglas and Mark Sheen about an aircraft carrier going back in time to December 6th, 1941. I'm going to just save that then for a reco. Thank you. Thank you for the recommendation, Phil. Furious Phil. And for the $5. I remembered my Charlemagne. By the way, Charlemagne, there's a person named Charlemagne, I think, out in the world, isn't there? Charlemagne. I spell it right. I think there's like a podcaster named Charlemagne, but they don't spell it the same, of course. They don't spell it the same. That's the first thing I thought of. I'm clearly a child of the more recent. Oh, he's a crusader. Interesting. He was a Byzantine ruler? I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so where are we now? So they end up going to... We go to a scene where they're giving whoever this royal of, I guess, Turkey. Is it Turkey that they were going? Yeah, Turkey. Basically help us find the Grail. I will give you riches. The guy ends up wanting the Rolls Royce Phantom 2, which, by the way, like the Rolls Royce is pretty sexy even in that time. Like, holy crap. He's like, I'm going to give you cars, tanks, horses, food. And the guy, Chasm is there as well from the Brotherhood of the Crusade sword. Oh my God, I forgot the name of it already. But we're just going to call it Brotherhood. So he has an in. Clearly, he knows what's going on. And Elsa, we see that says that Donovan tells Donovan that Indy escaped. So they know that Indiana's somewhere in the world. And they are watching them as they come out with their tanks, the horses, the camels, the cars. You know, they're well cared for by this royal. And especially the tank. The tank is pretty scary, by the way. Pretty scary. No camels. Why doesn't he like camels? Holy crap! That car's worth 10 mil today? Wow. Oh, Ron is Romanian lei. Romanian money. Okay. We'll try to remember that. Oh, I haven't watched that either. So the three of them, Sala, Sala, his dad, and Indiana are perched on these rocks. Indiana has binoculars. You have to really be careful with this because it reflected and they obviously saw him. So they shot a rocket at their car, which ends up being Sala's brother-in-law's car, as we find out. And when that's happening, all of a sudden the Brotherhood starts shooting at the Yahtzees. And they're fighting, and Indiana's like, Dad, you stay here. Sala and I are gonna get transportation. No camels! What happens? Camels. Indiana gets horses. Sala gets 5 camels, not 4. He's like, I need to get one to replace the car that my brother-in-law lost. And I guess a camel is better than no car. What happens after that? His dad goes to the tank, meets up with Marcus, and I thought they were so cute together. They're like 2 old men, adorable, very adorable. Wow. The list of films is literally just every film ever made. You know what? I love every film. I said horses! Oh, that was a World War I tank? I don't know who Tyrone Magnus is. Should I know who Tyrone Magnus is? Tyrone Magnus. YouTube. Okay. I don't know if I can get in contact with him. I'm assuming him. But maybe one day. One day. I'm small fish compared to him. I'm small fish. Definitely compared to him. Okay, so his dad ends up getting captured in the tank. And Indy has the horses. Sala has the camels. And Sala's like, your dad's in the belly of that steel beast. So what does he do? Indiana Jones rides on the horse and they're like firing at him. So he's riding around the tank. This is absolutely best action chase fight. All this scene. I don't know about ever, but like top. The way they filmed it, it was definitely a real tank. Definitely real horses. And just the way they set it all up. Oh my God. Ingenious. The camera work. I am so freaking impressed by this scene in this movie. So he's riding all around. He's trying to trick the tank to turn around because I think, limited view. You don't want to have too many open holes for people to fire shots into the tank. He ends up turning the tank around, crashing it into one of the vehicles, and the vehicle goes right into the nozzle of one of the openings for shooting, and so they're kind of blinded there. And then he comes and gets a rock and puts it into one of the side guns and makes it explode. So it's not working. Inside there's like fire going on, like smoke. And so they have to open up the opening at the top. The colonel comes out and he's shooting at Indiana. And this next part where Indiana goes onto this like platform on the horse to jump on the tank. That is so freaking dangerous. So freaking dangerous. Oh, it's a gun port. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I called it open holes. Oh God. Oh, thank you, Pete. Thank you. I'm very silent on FNT, but I talk a lot maybe over here. Definitely too much over here. So the Indiana's on the tank now, and guys from like other cars that didn't crash jump onto the tank to start fighting him. And there's, I don't know how, does this actually work? I don't know about physics, but can you shoot 3 guys through the tummy and kill all of them at once? Because that happened in this movie. It's a really cool scene, but is that real? Can that actually happen? I don't know. I don't know the physics with guns. So he kills those 3 guys that way, and then he gets flipped by another guy, and then gets started choked by the colonel with like the chain links. And Indiana ends up like going into like the hole at the top and throws the gun down to his dad. And you know, he throws one of the guys onto I don't know what it's called, but the wheel of the tank. The wheel of the tank? Is that a thing? And he ends up getting crushed in that. Mark, why are you texting me? Oh, he's texting me pictures of the dog. Xray Girl, with the right caliber gun, sure you can. The tank tracks. The treads. Okay, the treads. Tracks. So he has to get crushed by the treads. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. I'm not very familiar with the words. Obviously, I know so little about tanks. Maybe even less than the nerd stuff. Oh gosh. And then you know, Indy then gets his face like pushed onto the treads. Oh no, that's not happening yet. He's fighting the colonel, and the guy, there's a guy inside that brings the scope up, and you could see Indiana's face getting like smacked. Another good funny moment. And he's like, Americans fight like women. And then, you know, he has his head back against the scope. Indiana kicks the scope and it hits the guy in the head, knocks him out. His dad is trying to like fight this guy off. And he ends up using his pen and splooshes the ink at him on his face. By the way, I think that would hurt a lot. And I love how Marcus is like, the pen is mightier than the sword. I don't know if that's his accent, but I'm going to make it that. And, you know, it's very on brand for his dad to fight that way, you know, not use the gun, but use pen ink. And newbie, you need to rewatch this. I am not doing this, like I'm doing a disservice the way I'm explaining these fight scenes, because you know, they're so much better in person. The way I'm explaining them like so poorly right now. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. And then Indiana and the colonel, Indiana gets like thrown off, and he's off on the side where the gun hole that he like exploded earlier. And he ends up like trying to get up, but the colonel has a shovel. Where the shovel came from, I have no idea. And smacking him, you know, like, so he keeps falling. And then, you know, somehow Indiana's bag got like caught in it. So he's like hanging from the bag, kind of dragging on the floor. And then you can see him almost hit like this rock. And then all of a sudden, what happened? Someone in the tank gets hit by, the driver gets hit by a ricochet bullet, passes out, and then the tank last minute turns off to the side. Like, amazing. And the colonel kind of like falls down, so that gives Indiana a chance to like kind of get back up. Like, oh my god, like in real life, if people were to do this, so much liability. This would not happen in real life. Just saying. Oh wow, Andrew Matthews. Most tanks have shovels. I did not know that. Wow. Does everyone know this? Is this a thing? Is this a thing? I don't know. Never heard of this. Never heard of this. Oh. So they start fighting again, Indiana and the colonel. And I love how Marcus and his dad come out from the tank, and then Marcus is like, how does one get off this thing? And Indiana accidentally like elbows him, and he just like falls off. The injected humor in this is actually so freaking good. Like, so good. Can we just like have humor like this all the time? And his dad like falls onto the tread. Indiana like uses his whip, holds them. By the way, that would hurt if you're like your back is on those treads and like underneath you. And then Sella comes up. on a horse, gets his dad off of it. Clutch move, by the way, Sala. Clutch move, hero. And then Indiana and Colonel are fighting, and then the tank goes off the cliff, and then Indiana, I guess, managed to catch the side of the cliff, and the Colonel goes down. Just that beautiful, 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 beautiful action. I love it. I love it. Wow. They get stuck a lot. Is that why they need a shovel then? Okay. Yes. And then, so he's climbing up the cliff, and then he literally nonchalantly, well, I mean, with a bit of a struggle, because he's like, he's standing there, and like, and I think this is where I cried. This is where I cried. So, Sala, Marcus, and his dad literally think that he's dead. And like his dad had immediate regret. He was like, I didn't get to talk to him. It would have just taken 5 minutes to talk. He's not ready. And I just, that is so sweet. And I think a lot of times with death, whether it be someone close to you or not, you do have this immediate regret. Like you didn't have the time to say the things, that you wanted to say. So, do say things that you want to say. Like just don't wait, because the moment might have been gone. And I think, I actually like cried, because it's like I have had those moments thinking like I really do need to say these things. And I did eventually. Just it took a kick in the butt essentially to be more open and vulnerable. And I think his dad wished that he had more. And once he realized Indy was alive the way that he did, nonchalantly coming up behind him being like, what are they looking at? Like, what and they're like, son, I'm so glad. And I also thought, oh, by the way, that he I think this was the time that he actually said his name too. He said his name here. So lots of hugs. And then he goes, well done. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's probably one of the first memorable compliments that he's gotten, like straight to the, straight to the point, not like a backhanded compliment. So I thought it was really nice. It was a great moment. Good dad. And so, okay. So by the way, this was one of my favorite lessons in the movie, don't leave it to the last minute, because you don't know if you'll lose that moment. So I thought that was nice. And then, the father son, like regret and not regret. So hopefully he uses his time better after this. Anyone else cry? I did. All right. So now we're entering the tomb. I don't know what to call it. It's not a tomb. So they go to the entrance of the canyon. And I thought this is another plot hole here. So we know that there's people in there already. They kind of walk in behind them. Where were the cars? Where were the horses, the camels, all that? They didn't leave them at the front. Where did they go? I'm very confused. Did they walk down? Because clearly they could go down on horse, because, Indiana, Sala, Marcus, and his dad came down on horses. So plot hole, maybe. Just saying. Wow, Colt Seaman, it's a real place. Interesting. Colt Seaman says it hits harder with dads and sons. Probably the only good Father's Day movie. I'm sure there's other good Father's Day movies as well. Wow. Black Rose says they parked out back. I mean, maybe. Is there a back end to this place I didn't know about? Oh, so they go in. They're kind of like walking in, and you see a bunch of like soldiers kind of there with Donovan and Elsa, and they're sending in volunteers to walk in to literally their beheading. You walk in, this guy's like really scared. He's walking through, and he sees two of his dead colleagues, and then he gets literally like this, whatever it is. They never really said what it was, so I guess it's like whatever the blades. Slices his head off, breaks his sword into 2 pieces. Holy crap. Wow. Chat, I don't know if the wizards, I mean, I could believe it. Indiana Jones had magic in it. So maybe they took an Uber. Uber didn't exist back then. By the dumpster. Oh, it's called a Petra, City of Stone. Okay, so they went to a Petra. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm learning. And he died, and the head's just like rolling, really creepy. I'm glad it wasn't too bloody. I'm not gonna lie. There probably should have been more blood, but it's gross. And I like the way they kind of wrote this into how they got like captured. So Marcus, when the head got beheaded, he like was like, and then turned away. I mean, that is a very, very normal human reaction to something that is gross. And then of course he opens his eyes. And this is the first time that we actually see him actually take direction well. From something that's a bit more subtle. There's a gun. And he's just like, over. And he actually went over. So there we go. He could take some direction. Just not apparently run. Yeah. Wow, built 3,000 years ago by the Persians. I mean, it's really cool how they carved out the pillars and all that from that rock. That was really cool. Really cool. So Donovan basically, after they get captured, is like, Indiana, you need to go find the Grail. Of course, Indiana refuses, and he's like, shooting me won't get you anywhere. So what does he do? He shoots his dad. And, says, this is the only way to save your dad so that he can drink the cup. So we go through the 3 steps now. So the first one, the breath of God. Only the penitent man will pass. On top of that, I loved a lot of stuff about this, but I love this like back and forth, seeing Indiana Jones say all these lines. Only the penitent man will pass. Penitent man pass. All this, and then you see his dad saying the exact same lines. So he was like, the penitent man needs to kneel before God to literally prevent himself to get beheaded. So he like ducks and dives. I'm like, that was so cool. That's so cool. And the penitent man is humble before God kneels before. Oh my God, I wrote this really wrong. The penitent man is humble and kneels before God. So we get to the second step. We haven't seen this yet. It says the word of God. Only in the footsteps of God will he proceed. These puzzles are really cool. I would not have gotten this. So Jehovah is God's name, but in Latin, J is I. So Indiana almost makes that mistake, stepping on J first. He goes through. By the way, if you fall through a hole and you're hanging like this, to pull yourself up and push yourself up, that is really hard. Oh my God. So he's nerdy, but he is hella strong. Especially after fighting, and he still has all that energy. Heck, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And then last one was the path of God. Only in the leap from the lion's head will he prove his worth. By the way, pan back to when he went to his dad's house, that image of the Grail walking across nothing. I don't know what they did to set the scenario up, but I love the way they did the camera work here. So, you don't see anything from any direction that he's being shot until he steps onto the step, and he's like, whoa! He did that leap of faith, jumped onto the bridge. And I love the way they went from from behind him. So this is the path, went from behind him, and then they angled slightly out, and they're like, oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. I love with the music. It's absolutely cool. Absolutely beautiful. So, one thing, maybe it's a plot hole, but it could be explained. So this is my explanation for this. This place has been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. I'm surprised it didn't get dirty. Stuff from the ceiling, dirt, dust, whatever it is. How did it not get dirty so that it would ruin the illusion? No idea. The only way I can explain this is the night that he finds in the room. Did he clean it to make it, more optical illusion-y? I don't know. Dirt doesn't exist. Maybe. Yeah, the Knights swept it every morning. That's the only explanation I can have. Wow. Windex. Duh. Apparently, Windex existed back then. If that was a commercial for Windex, I would love that. That was perfect. That'd be perfect. He probably slept it every 50 years or so. Oh gosh. Yeah. So they get to the Grail. There's a knight there, and he's legitimately like 700 years old. Absolutely crazy. I'm surprised he's still wearing his knight gear. And he's literally so old and so weak that he cannot swing his sword. He literally this is like almost back to the first movie when Marion is being chased by that guy, and they run into a room, and he gets knocked and then falls out of the room like a cartoon. Like it almost feels like a cartoon moment where he like brings the sword up and he's like, ah! Fall backwards. Just saying. 800-year-old janitor with arthritis. I mean, if you're bored, what are you gonna do? Start cleaning, I guess. Maybe it's a woman thing. I don't know. So he's like, oh, yeah, you're a knight and you're dressed so strangely. But he's the last of the three brothers who was entrusted to protect the Grail. This room is lit with torches. There's a bunch of cups there, and there's like a well in the middle. So in comes Donovan and Elsa. And Elsa says, I'll pick up the cup for you. So she picked this like very jeweled gold cup. And then I'm going to bring this up. He warned Indiana not to trust anyone. I really think he should have heeded his own warning in this moment. So, of course, he puts in the water, he drinks it, and he literally disintegrates in front of them to dust. It was this movie was what, the 90s? I think it was the 90s. Or was it the 80s? Indiana. Let's see. I'm going to check. Indiana Jones Last Crusade. That movie came out, 89. So whatever effect they did with that whole part, oh my God, it was really, 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 really cool. Really cool. Wow. Skyline Andy. Dang. That's cold. So his body literally disintegrates, and it's like really creepy. Elsa's like being held by him. She's screaming. And they eventually find the correct cup. It's a very pretty cup, very small, not too crazy. And he drinks it, and the knight goes, "You have chosen well." And of course, Donovan, he has chosen poorly. Stop motion. I think that, yeah, definitely. Wow, Mark, going to see a movie like this at 5 years old. I feel like that would not be a good movie to go see. Yeah, like Teletubbies, probably better. If Teletubbies existed. A wood cup made by a carpenter. You know, it makes sense. Wow. I think, wow. Oh my God. Literally 3 of you. You have chosen wisely. There we go. There we go. So they take the cup with water out to his dad. They heal him. And we see Elsa. And this is her undoing. She has the cup, and we learn from the knight that it is to remain there. And we've known from even earlier when I mentioned it, the cup is forever to stay there. Okay. She is smart. And this is where I think this is where greed is a sin, literally in the Bible. So she gets greedy. And she tries to take it out past the seal. And what happens? The room starts collapsing. The cup ends up like falling into one of the cracks as the room is falling apart. And she's kind of hanging off by a thread. And Indiana comes for her, grabs her hand. And this is where the greed happens. She's reaching for the cup thinking, I'm going to be able to get it. And what happens? Her hand slips. She falls. She dies. And then all of a sudden, flip that around. Indiana Jones ends up in her position. His dad there. Same thing. We go back. Can I go back to when Chasm was asking him, why do you want the cup? For his glory or yours? Right? She, Elsa, wanted the cup for her selfish reasons. It was a prize. It literally was, which we'll speak to after. For him, it was about his dad. If it's really about his dad, this moment proves it. So he decided to give up, you know? And this is, it's really sweet. His dad's like, Indiana, is it worth it? And it wasn't. So he ends up grabbing his hand, gets pulled up. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. And yeah, so he gets pulled up and they leave. The knight's there, waves to them like, hallelujah, bye. Thanks for coming. Yeah, Indiana, let it go. Yes! Oh my god, another teary moment. So yeah, cried twice. Cried twice. This is the ultimate father-son moment, besides both banging Elsa because Jones was her packing. Yes. Oh my god. Let it go. Yes. So at the end, you know, Dad said Elsa never really believed in the Grail. She thought she'd found a prize. And then Indian asks his dad what he found. And I think this is really sweet. His dad says illumination. Oh, my heart. Guys, like again, I'm going to say this. I, as a white Asian woman, oh my god, not white. Oh my god. I, as an Asian woman, relate to this like Indiana Jones and his father. You know, this greed here that Elsa had and trying not to be like that in real life, you know, all this stuff. And you know, these lessons are great. That's why I really love this movie. This was my like number one movie. Wow. Also wanted to maintain the and yes, shark dentures, I do remember this. According to the left, I am white. Oh, I've been with a white woman this whole time. It's not when it's on the outside that counts. It's on the inside. Just saying. And then comes my favorite part to knowing why and where Indiana Jones came from. Because so we find out, you know, he's Junior, Henry Jones Jr. Obviously doesn't go by the name. Dad's like, what'd you find, Junior? Indy's like, don't call me Junior. And you know, he tells Sala that the dog's name is Indiana. And Sala goes, you were named after the dog? Oh, that was such a good laugh at the end to kind of like end the song. We find out he took after the dog and he's like, I had a lot of fond memories of the dog. And then like they ride off into the sunset and no one's just like, just so feel good at the end. Thank you for a great movie. Honestly, this number one. Grr, I love that dog. James Henry Jones Jr. That is a solid like name though. James Henry Jones Jr. So good. Loving the music. And I really love the I think it's trumpet. It's just so happy, airy, fun. It's just like exciting. You know, they really garnered having a lot of moments with that sequence of notes with great, exciting, happy, triumphant. That now when I hear that, that's all I feel like this. It's like an excitement in me. So I don't know. Kudos to Steven Spielberg for all that. Kudos to Harrison Ford. I'm so happy I watched these movies. It was so good. So freaking good. And yes, I mean, I would love to know more about stuff, but I think that, you know, it's like, don't touch what's great. Because if you do, well, look at Lord of the Rings. There we go. Oh god, you know, all these old folks who used to watch cheesy movies in the 50s returned into them. I know, We are. And I mean, like, I didn't watch this back in the day, but I could appreciate like all this. There's so many good moments, very heartfelt. You know. So yeah. Pete Chambers, next trilogy must be John Wick. I don't know about that. John Wick? John Wick. Maybe. We could try. We could try. Okay, so I do have a donation from Colt Seaman for $30 saying happy Monday, everyone. Here is a good movie recommendation that will increase your nerd cred by 1,000%. I believe you'll actually like it. The 90s sci-fi classic Fifth Element, or 80s comedy classic Blues Brothers. Okay, so I did watch Fifth Element when I was a kid. It's been a long time, and I would love actually to do. Maybe that's what we should do. Should I do Fifth Element next? Oh my god, I kind of want to. I think that's what I should do. Oh my god, and Godfather? I haven't watched that. I should. You know what? I'm gonna add that to the list. I'm gonna add that to the official list because I haven't watched that yet at all. Godfather, and I feel like I probably should. And then Fifth Element. I'm gonna add also the ones that I took pictures of. Fifth Element and Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, and then it looks like, let me see the poll here. We got 70% wanting a live reaction. Okay. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a live reaction. I'm so excited. Okay, guys. Mark, I will watch RoboCop at some point. I did watch that a long time ago, but I'm kind of like, once I heard Fifth Element, I'm like, I need to watch this. Okay, so right now, Young Ripa is doing a live stream. I'm gonna send you on over there about the Ripaverse. There we go. There's the link. I'm gonna send you on over there. Thank you guys for joining in. It was very, very, very fun. I enjoyed these Indiana movies. I can't wait. Oh, watch Willow. That's another one. And maybe I will do it. It'll be easier for me to do a live reaction because then I don't have to spend like 5 hours watching a movie and writing notes. That's really that was really it, really. Wow. Ripa is at 788,000. Almost at 800K. This is going to go over $1 million. This is going to go freaking over $1 million. That is insane. Freaking insane. Chat, you've been wonderful. If you want, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, all those things. I also am on Twitch, Xray Girl 2077, on Twitter, Xray Girl _ as well as Instagram, Xray Girl _. And I also have a channel with That Tug Life called Poor Choices, POUR Choices, where we talk about fun relationship stuff. So, you know, let's do it. Thank you so much. You guys have been freaking amazing. I love you all, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.